Hi guys, this is Jay Weston from Hyperfocal Design. Today I'm going to run you through a tutorial on using HDR footage in Adobe After Effects. So I'm going to be covering a few things, just initial scene project setup to ensure that you retain the HDR format, and then a little bit on using proxies for the really large files, and then how to frame blend and what the difference is between pixel motion and frame mix. So to begin with, if we're looking to use these HDRs and then export HDRs, we want to ensure that our project is set up in 32-bit HDR depth. And if we're doing something like blending or making really any adjustments, make sure linear gamma is set there. So now when you export, you'll be able to export as EXR with, the full, you can see there, the full range of the sky, and you can still use it for image-based lighting. So if this is footage from the two samples that I provide. So the top one is the afternoon to night sample footage, and this one is the full day length footage. So I might just do a quick thing where I blend the two together using different methods, and it'll serve as a bit of a test case. So you can see that's the full day length one, and this is the afternoon to night one. And I'll just quickly add some frames on here so we can see the whole thing. Okay, so the full day length sky was shot at kind of 1 minute every frame, whereas the afternoon to night one, I forget exactly, but it's kind of 2 or 3 times slower moving than the day length one. So let's say we want to double the length of the full day length sky. And if you're using the full res footage, if you've purchased one of the time lapses, you want to make sure you're using proxies, because the frame sizes are pretty huge, and to do that you just want to right click and then go create proxy, set it as like a 1024 movie, and that'll automatically then set this as a proxy, and then you can come over to a little checkbox here and turn the proxy on and off to see what the result is. And then you can also adjust the resolution here, and your fast preview you can set to fast draft, so it runs kind of maximum possible speed. Okay, so back to the frame blending. If we want to double the length of this full day length sky footage here first, to enable frame blending first you want to check that that's on. Then you want to enable time remapping. That'll add a keyframe to the start and end of that clip. You can also come in and add, for example, a keyframe here and click and drag that out, and it'll slow just that segment down. But we're just looking to double the length of this whole clip, so we're going to then come into frame blending, and for the full day one, because it moves so fast, we want to use frame mix instead of pixel motion. I can probably just set that as pixel motion to begin with and show you actually what the drawback is to using pixel motion for such fast moving footage. So frame blending, excuse me. Frame blending on frame mix, and then finally we want to go to time stretch and just double that length there. So now you can see that just lengthened out. And now, sorry, I was going to explain what it looked like with pixel motion. So now that it's on frame mix, I'll show you what that actually looks like. So it's essentially just taking this frame, and then inserting one in between which contains both frames. So you get this effect where you get one full frame and then one kind of semi-opaque frame, and you know, that looks, when it's running, it doesn't look too bad. I think because it's, you know, because it's clouds, it's not really hugely obvious, so I think you can get away with that myself. Looking at pixel motion, if we try that instead, you'll see it does some really odd things. It's just kind of warping around like jelly, so that's definitely not something you can use for the full day length one. The pixel motion algorithm or whatever just simply doesn't know how to move pixels in between such large distances. Whereas, so for example, if we move to the afternoon to night footage here, this was shot so much faster, and the difference in between frames is so much less that After Effects can quite accurately figure out what the in-between frames are without turning it into jelly like it does with this footage. So we turn that back to frame mix, and now we've got a time lapse that's twice, well, yeah, half the speed, and then that just blends into this one, so that gives us a time lapse that goes from the morning all the way through to sunset, and then nighttime where the moon comes out there at the end. And if I didn't include a link at the start, you can download these on my website, and I'll put a link in the description if you want to follow along. Okay, so I've explained the difference there between pixel motion and frame mix for that full day length one. I'll just now show you what pixel motion looks like on the afternoon to night footage. And this is it, just running normal speed without any frame blending. So you can see that speed there. And now, as before, enable time remapping, frame blending, pixel motion, and then time stretch 200%. And I'll just change my composition so it's longer again. So there you go, it's fine sort of for the most part, but there is also some things you need to look out for with pixel motion for these skies in this lat long format, and that's mostly around the top here because of the stretching around the zenith. That's just the way lat long footage looks. After Effects just doesn't quite know what's going on there, so you can see a little bit of wobbling around the top. It's actually not too bad. You'll probably only see a problem if you're looking kind of straight up. And the other thing to look out for is right on the edges here, pixel motion will be slightly different on one edge compared to another. So if you're looking right over here really closely, you might see some very minor seams. I've loaded it up myself and had a look. It's extremely hard to actually pick it out. So you'd probably be pretty unlucky to notice anything there, but that's how you use pixel motion anyway. It works quite well for this one and works even better for the afternoon slow time lapse. Right, so to finish off this tutorial, if you wanted to take this time lapse, for example, and render out a full, remake a time lapse from morning to night using these two time lapses in EXR format, you just want to go add to render queue, make sure you've got all the frames you need, best quality, frame blending on, and then make sure your format is OpenEXR. In PIS wavelet is the best size. Best size to compression sort of ratio. Make sure your depth is floating point, and you're pretty much ready to go. You just need to choose your folder, and that's that. So if you don't have the time-lapse samples, check out the description on the YouTube video and you can download them and try this out for yourself. Thanks for watching. Cheers.